the problem that Jay Clayton had in his resume, as impressive as it is, in many respects, is that he had not proven himself an election denier. And so he obviously wanted a new job, and so he had to fill in that gap and prove that he could be an election denier. So he went on cable TV and said, "Hey, everyone, I can be undermining free and fair elections along with the best of them." And you're exactly right, Simone, as usual. No one should be voting to confirm Jay Clayton. I mean, Jay Clayton is just another, spreader of lies and disinformation, and we cannot allow Donald Trump to set the bar on the ground, I think, as Jackie said, by saying, well, they're better than Tulsi Gabbard. Well, I mean, under that standard, who doesn't get to be DNI?
Well, just because this interview was so extraordinary and bizarre for the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, let's play a little bit more from Jay Clayton answering questions about the California election.
Do you think that it helps, given where you sit in the world, to speculate about fraud or potential fraud without any direct evidence?
I am not speculating about fraud. I'm not saying there is fraud, okay? I am saying that the opportunity for fraud makes no sense to me. There are a lot of people who look at this and say there is no fraud, okay? I don't think that they're right either when you have a situation where you don't have voter ID.
I mean, Mark, I had a little bit of reporting last month about some of the efforts that Tulsi Gabbard made to save her job, primarily being committed to these election integrity, as they've called them, investigations, showing up in Fulton County, Atlanta, shortly after being excluded from big conversations on Venezuela to oust Nicolas Maduro, something that would be far more in line with what her job description as DNI is. When you're sort of taking stock of some of the people who are leading this government and who have been brought in, I mean, what do you make of the assessment that at the heart of Donald Trump's presidency is really his desire to relitigate the 2020 election and use that to foreshadow potential results that are down the pipeline for years to come?
Yeah, look, I think here's a test I always give Republicans. You can be a Republican in good standing and be against tariffs. I can name any number of people in Trump's cabinet or in his close orbit who are against tariffs. You could be against the Iran war. I mean, half of his coalition is against the Iran war. You can even be pro-choice. I mean, the current HHS secretary was pro-choice. The one thing you can't be, the only thing that you cannot be, is in favor of free and fair elections. I mean, you see it with the judges. I'm sure you've shown the clips in past shows. The people who are up for judges who are asked who won the 2020 election, and they all say, I can't answer. Right? Like, you're exactly right. Like, it is the irreducible minimum. It is the only thing that within the MAGA coalition that you cannot stray from in terms of orthodoxy is that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election, and to believe that we should have free and fair elections in 2026 and 2028. And that's what makes it so dangerous, that you see the Jay Claytons of the world in the run-up to wanting a job, having to go on cable television and say things that are preposterously stupid. And he's not a dumb man. I mean, he must know that what he is saying is preposterously stupid, that there is an opportunity for fraud in California elections. I don't know, is there an opportunity for fraud in Texas elections or in Florida elections or South Carolina elections? I mean, if the question is that there is an opportunity for fraud, what is it, Jay Clayton, that is unique about California? Why is it that you, of all of the states you could have picked, you picked one state to say there is a, quote, opportunity for fraud, other than you were trying to suck up to Donald Trump?
Well, Mark, I would be rather frank at this moment. I'm sick of all of this. I am so fed up with this administration and their crap, I cannot begin to tell you. Let me read from you, sir, from the Intelligence Reform and Terrorism and Prevention Act of 2004, which states, quote, any individual nominated for appointment as Director of National Intelligence shall have, here's the important part, extensive, underline it, bold it up, exclamation point it, national security expertise, period. That's the description for the job from the United States Congress as that law was passed 89-2 and signed into law by George Bush in December of 2004. Then you have Representative Jim Hines, Democrat of Connecticut, posting today, I've known and respected Jay Clayton for decades. His intelligence, temperament, and deep commitment to public service will make him a terrific DNI. Had this nomination been made a week ago, lots of pain might have been avoided. I cry BS because the law says he must have extensive national security expertise. When members of Congress violate the requirements of their own law, where are we in this? I mean, what are the American people to think here? And now you got Democrats going, oh, well, I think, if this had happened a week ago, oh, gee, I'd be okay. We'd be in a different place. No, we would not, sir. Mr. Hines, we would not be in a different place if this had happened a week ago, because the nominee would still be unqualified.
Yeah, and I do think it's important that people understand, who don't have the background, who understand who Jay Clayton is. I mean, Jay Clayton was a lawyer at Sullivan & Cromwell, a very large multinational law firm in New York City, mostly known for its work for big banks and Wall Street companies. And he was nominated and served in the first Trump administration as the head of the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and then went back to Sullivan & Cromwell. So to your point, like, he has a lot of experience on Wall Street and banks, and I'm not qualified to judge what his, whether he did a good job or a bad job in that, but he doesn't have any national security experience. I mean, it would be the equivalent of making me the DNI, right? I mean, like, I have experience in some things, but not in this. And to your point, like, Congress wrote a statute that actually set out qualifications, and you would think that Congress should want to uphold that. But I think beyond that, we've seen this before, and one of you said this in the introduction, and I wish I could give the right one of you credit for it, but, I kind of lived through this with Pam Bondi. Like, Pam Bondi was not Matt Gaetz, sure enough, but, like, Pam Bondi never should have been confirmed as the Attorney General of the United States. And when the Washington Post gave her a big green thumbs up, I called that out. And when, and I fear that we're about to see the same thing with Jay Clayton. I mean, the fact is, Pam Bondi turned out to be just another tool of Donald Trump. And Jay Clayton is being nominated to just be another tool of Donald Trump. We know that, both because that's the only thing Donald Trump's interested in, but also because he doesn't have experience in the area. And he went on cable television to say preposterously stupid things about California voting.
Mark, my phone heard you and it got riled up. It was like, yes, Siri's always listening. I plus. I cannot agree more. To the point that Jackie made, we're going to be looking through today and tomorrow for all of the Democrats that have nice things to say about Jay Clayton and how he's different. Because some of the same Democrats said the same thing about Todd Blanche. They said, you know what? We've worked with him.
Hello.
I remember him. He's different. Maybe he'll be a check on Pam Bondi. And now look, Todd Blanche is the main one. Todd Blanche went down there and did the interview with Ghislaine Maxwell and oversaw her being moved to the prison with puppies. Todd Blanche is the one that ensured all of these investigations into Donald Trump's quote-unquote enemies, political enemies, are going forward. Todd Blanche is willing to do whatever. Why should we believe that Jay Clayton is different? Anyone that is signing up to work for this administration at this point, they're going to pay the price that Jackie laid out. You got to be an election denier. And I'm sorry, election denier should be a disqualification. Apparently we have to go, Mark Elias, so you have like 10 seconds to say something.
Yeah, look, I think you're exactly right. Pam Bondi was a politician, and that was bad, but worse when it was replaced by Todd Blanche, who was a lawyer willing to sell the American people a bunch of lies. And Tulsi Gabbard was a politician, and I am much more worried about a lawyer like Clayton selling the American people a bunch of lies.